Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Hare Krishna. Kartik Month Story Chapter 30. Lord Shri Krishna said to Satyabhama, "O dear, Maharaja Prithu was very surprised to hear these words of Naradji. At last, he worshipped Naradji and bid him farewell. That is why I love these three fasts, Magh, Kartik, and Ekadashi. I love Tulsi among plants, Kartik among months, Ekadashi among dates, and Prayag among regions. The man who conquers the senses and consumes them is more dear to me than the man who performs yajna. Those people who serve them properly, by my grace, they get rid of all their sins." After hearing the words of Lord Krishna, Satyabhama said, "O Lord, you have said a very wonderful thing that by doing good deeds for others, one is freed from discord. This influential Kartik month is more dear to you, due to which the sin of adultery is destroyed only by the virtue of bathing. Please tell me how the good deeds done by another person can be received by his giving." Lord Krishna said, "Dear, listen carefully to the actions by which unearned virtue and sin are obtained. In Satyug, the country, villages, and clans got the reward for the good deeds or sins, but in Kalyug, only the doer has to suffer the consequences of the sins and good deeds. That arrangement has been made even if there is no communication, and through communication, sins and virtues are passed on to others. Listen to that arrangement also. By teaching, performing yajna, and eating together, one gets half the reward of good and bad deeds. By sitting on a seat and riding a vehicle, by the coming and going of the breath, a living being receives a fourth part of the virtues and sins. One sixth of the virtues and sins are obtained by touching, eating, and praising others. By criticizing, gossiping, and criticizing others, one gets the seventh part of it. Whoever serves people who do good deeds takes part in the service and gives his good deeds to them. Apart from the servant and the disciple, the person who does not pay money after getting service done by another person, that servant is also a partaker of his good deeds. The person who crosses the plates of those eating food sitting in a row gives one sixth of his virtue to the person whose plate he has crossed. The person who talks to or touches a person while taking bath or meditating, etc., gives away one sixth of his virtue. The person who asks for money from others for religious work is a partaker of virtue. In the same way, the person who donates is the recipient of the virtue. The person who preaches religion and then appeals to the listener gives one sixth of his virtue to him. The person who steals other people's money and practices religion with it suffers the consequences of theft and soon becomes poor, and the person whose money he steals becomes a partaker of virtue. A person who dies without repaying his debt, the good man who gives him the debt is blessed with good deeds. The one who teaches, gives advice, gathers material, and inspires receives the sixth part of sin and virtue. The king gets one sixth of the sins and virtues of his subjects. The teacher gets one sixth of the virtues of the disciples, the husband of the wife, the father of the son. The woman gets one sixth of the good deeds of her husband. An obedient woman who pleases her husband takes half of the virtue from her husband. Those virtuous souls who donate to strangers receive one sixth of their virtue. The person who gives sustenance receives one sixth of the virtue of the person who takes sustenance. In this way, good deeds or sins can be received by others without giving it to others. But these rules which I have explained do not apply in Kalyug. In Kalyug, only the doer has to suffer for his sins and virtues. There is a very old history in this regard which is also sacred and is said to give wisdom. Listen to it carefully. This history will be told in the 31st chapter. Kartik Month Story Chapter 30 is completed. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. He Nath Narayan Vasudeva. Shri Krishna Govind Hare Murari, He Nath Narayan Vasudeva.